Okay, Spider-Man fans, let's do this one last time. His name is Tom Holland. He was casted to be the boy bit by the spider, and for the last 8 years, he's been the one and only Spider-Man that isn't animated or existing in the MCU. And I think you know the rest. He won the hearts of the people, lost them again, got called Iron Boy, won them back, and he did these. We don't really talk about these, but no matter how many bad reviews he takes, his agent at least always finds a way to give him that great free picture Spider-Man deal, because the only thing standing between Tom Holland's career and oblivion is him. Can you tell us about Spider-Verse recently? It's great, by the way. Tom Holland's newest project, The Crowded Room, just dropped, and let's just say the reviews aren't exactly glowing. It also has to be said that I like Tom Holland. I'm not just calling him shit. Actually, a lot of this video is going to be praising him, which is why it's even more annoying that he's in so much bad stuff. Let's look through Tom Holland's more notable projects since his MCU debut in Captain America: Civil War. And to be honest, when you look at this table, it's not looking too bad. Now let's remove the MCU projects, and as you can see, we're left with something a little bit more bloody. But now let's speak about some of these with slightly more nuance. I'm just showing you numbers and reviews right now, and review scores can be inflated in some senses depending on their genre of film, like kids films and big MCU blockbusters, and they equally can be really harshly given if they're judged to be an Oscar-worthy contender type of film, which I think is unfair, but it all levels out. Like, for example, should The Crowded Room really be 13%? Probably not. But should Far From Home be 90%? Probably not. I've seen basically all these films, and I do think the MCU scores are inflated. I'd also say that even though Onward is 88% here, I think that within the context of Pixar films, it's definitely one of their weaker ones. But with that being said, equally, for what The Chaos Walking is, I think 21% is actually harsh. I think it's just an easy watch, family-friendly sci-fi flick. I also think The Devil All the Time is a solid film with countless great performances, so that one's a little bit harsh as well. There's a high ceiling for Tom, and there always seems to be a lot of promise for his projects, as well as a lot of them being adapted from prior work that is highly thought of. And I think these things combine to give him a pretty harsh ratings for his projects outside of Spider-Man. I also think there might be an issue with him constantly being the main character with an American accent in quite literally almost everything he's in. Like literally almost everything. I'm not saying he has a leading man complex, but I do think it is weird. Whether he asks his agent or his agent just decides that they want only leading roles for Tom, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with being a supporting character from somewhere outside of the USA from time to time. I don't know, just, you know, try new things. But this is insanity now. We are stuck in a time loop. It is the same thing again and again, no different results. But these mid-films come like clockwork. The actors attached are always brilliant, which makes you think, are roles being picked on trivial things like this and not on if they're actually good and compelling? Tom Holland has spoken about how there was a period of time after blowing up where he didn't want to lose that or waste this opportunity. So he'd basically accept every role he was offered, spreading himself thin. It seems like he's started to slow that down a bit now and is being a little bit more considered. Not that it's actually making a huge difference yet, but at least less shit is being thrown at the wall, especially when hardly any of it was sticking in the first place. Now that the quantity is down, the quality has to go up. I've said before how I think script reading is such an underrated talent. I've praised Daniel Kaluuya for his script reading before, as he's spoken about it, and he's great at it. It helps that he enjoys reading them anyway.
I sort of like the first line, because I read scripts for fun. Like, I always just
really?
find my favourite films and read them.
You're so... I'm stealing that. That's such like a good actor thing.
When you look at his portfolio, you can see a wide array of interesting roles. Roles that have led to good relationships with people like Jordan Peele. He wasn't in Wakanda Forever because he was off shooting Note. By the way, this is Daniel Kaluuya's current film form. Hot dog way in the countryside because that's a lot of grade. Hot dog way in Wiz Khalifa's house because that's a lot of grade. Hot dog way at Shrek's family function because that's a lot of grade. If you compare this to Tom Holland, who signed on to The Crowded Room as not just an actor, but as an executive producer before seeing any scripts. Not to say that other actors don't also do this from time to time and it still ends with magic, but in the context of Holland's bad run, it doesn't look great. He said he wanted something similar to Edward Norton's Primal Fear and went in based off that. So bro basically said, fuck it, vibes. You can hit and hope if you want, but so far it's been a bunch of swings and misses. I think some people look and go, well, not everyone wants critical acclaim and Oscars. And also, who cares what critics think? Critics think The Last Jedi was good. I think regardless of that, most people just want to be in something that is ultimately considered good. Timothy Chalamet went for the role of Spider-Man, but since he said he wouldn't want to play a superhero, but that doesn't mean he is against that genre. I think he just wants to be in things that are good. He stepped into Dune and he stepped into Wonka recently, which are quite different for him. And if he was offered a superhero film that was good, then I think he'd do it in the same way that Patterson did the Batman and Phoenix did the Joker. And this is his pick and form, by the way. A few misses, but ultimately a lot of hits. It's also just about reputation and respect. I think Tom Holland takes me as someone who would never truly feel like Spider-Man is a burden because it gets you typecast. I think Tom Holland would probably say he's grateful to the character, it's one he dreamed of playing, and one that changed his his life. But I think it'd be out of the question to not also assume that there's a small part of him who doesn't want to just be thought of as the actor who could play Spider-Man but couldn't really do anything else. And yes, he will still sleep at night just being Spider-Man. Everyone wants to prove people wrong, and I'm sure he sees those doubters and he hears the criticism.
Obviously, The Crowded Room came out. We didn't have very favourable reviews.
The Crowded Room reviews.
Looking forward ahead of The Crowded Room, he has this untitled Fred Astaire biopic, and it feels like surely something will have to break that chain and be just outright good. Ultimately, I think currently there are the right ingredients for it to go well if given the free reign he needs. And I think it needs to. Well, not actually, like he doesn't need to. The guy's just signed up for another free Spider-Man film. It's like he doesn't need this. I think the last thing you'd want is getting absolutely panned in this genre, as it never looks good. But he has only just turned 27, and even in all of these bad projects, when you read the reviews, he's always detailed as the jewel in the turd. And I truly think he does have that hunger within him to go and pick out the roles that are challenging, interesting, and most importantly, good, and not just sit on a mountain of Marvel money accepting his fate as Peter Parker and Peter Parker only. Because as cool as being Spider-Man is, I think there's so much more than that behind the mask.